Hello, everybody. What's going on? Thanks for tuning in to T Great Taryn. I hope that you're accomplishing everything that you've expected to accomplish today. Just wanted to do another video, and I'm going to apologize for the video quality. I know that the video quality is not the best. I'm using my computer, and I just want to see exactly after I post it how the quality looks, and I'll go back in and just make some readjustments. I'm sure y'all are all right with that. So let's just get down to it. I just wanted to do a video and talk about something that I think is very, very interesting that the world kind of has twisted, and that is the topic of actually seeking advice versus validation and the difference. A lot of people, in my opinion, I think, and personally, just from my own experiences, I've done it myself. I'm guilty of seeking advice or thinking that I'm seeking advice, but deep down, I'm actually seeking validation. Now, when I don't know words, Grant Cardone, I'm a huge fan of him, top businessman, top salesperson, and he taught me that when you don't understand something, you look it up. It could be the word the, it could be the word and, it could be the word advice, it could be the word validation. If you don't know it, or if you're going to talk about something, you want to make sure you at least have the definitions, okay? Because sometimes our definitions of things are completely different from one another. So I went to the online, got the exact definition of advice, and here it is. Advice: guidance or recommendations concerning prudent future action, typically given by someone regarded as knowledgeable or authoritative. So that is saying that guidance or recommendations. And a lot of times we go to our friends and our parents and our coworkers and our bosses, and we want to ask them for advice, and we say, hey, what do you think of this? And really, we're not asking for their advice. We already have an idea of what we think it is, or that thing. We have an idea of how well it is, how bad it is, how great it is, how not great it is. But yet we still want to ask someone else their opinion, and we confuse that with, let me ask them for their advice, when really what we should be saying is, oh, what I'm doing is I'm about to ask them for their opinion. And an opinion is just that. It's an opinion. It's irrelevant. I don't think that you should take other people's opinions, especially if they don't have exactly what you want. You should never be seeking an opinion or an advice for someone. That's like going to your father. Now, if you go to your father and you ask them, hey, dad, or hey, mom, or whoever, how can I make $1 million? And they haven't ever made over $100,000 in a year, you're going to get terrible advice. That's not advice. They're not going to be able to tell you how to do that. But if you go to someone who has already made that $1 million and you say, hey, how do I make $1 million? That is advice that you want to take. Now, validation. The definition I gathered: the action of checking or proving the validity or accuracy of something. The action of checking or proving. So we've asked for the advice, and then we're going to go back and actually check or prove the validity or accuracy of something. As human beings, we already know what we need to do. We know, like I said, we know if something's right, we know if something's wrong. Typically, when we're going out and we're asking a third party for that advice on what they think, we're really seeking validation. And when we seek validation from other people, from outside forces, instead of validation from ourselves, it messes us completely up. It makes us miserable people. And I am so guilty of this myself. And maybe other people can relate to this, but when you're different, when you just are who you are. For me, my story is I'm lesbian, I'm gay, and I'm proud of that. And coming up, when I couldn't be proud of that, when I was told that, hey, this is wrong, you're going to hell, and I was bashed for who I am, and I couldn't understand why all these people who were supposed to love me were bashing me for just who I am, I was still seeking validation. And it was a terrible time because I was seeking that validation from my mother, from friends, from whoever was around me. I always wanted that validation of, hey, do you accept me? Do you see me? Do you love me? And that's the wrong way to go about it. When we expect other people to treat us a certain way or validate us for something in our own lives, we are in turn giving that person power over our entire being. You cannot seek validation from someone. You only seek validation from yourself. That's all that matters. Forget everybody else's opinion, because that's all that it is. It's an opinion. Everybody wants to give their 2 cents, and that's exactly what it's worth. 2 cents. Okay? 2 cents. Now, I keep a pad here, so I keep looking over at my notes, because it's ridiculous. You're never going to remember everything that you want to talk about. So the important parts I definitely want to make sure that I hit on. But usually it comes from your parents. It comes from mommy and daddy started off, and you want to seek validation from mommy and daddy. You know? And that's we shouldn't want that. As a kid, you know, we want that because we're just a kid. We don't know any better. But once we reach adulthood and we're still trying to search for that validation, that's a problem. That's a problem. So, you know, me personally, I sought that validation. I wanted to know what my mother thought of me being gay. I wanted to know what she thought about me getting married to the person that I married. I wanted that validation. And seeking that validation that she never would give me hurt me. I would spend days crying, not understanding, just like, why? Trying to understand something that's not meant to be understood. That's the bottom line of it. As humans, we make stuff so much more difficult than what it needs to be. So we place so much more stress on ourselves than what we already have. You don't care what people have to say. You don't want to validate. Stop asking for the advice. If you want to ask for advice, there's a difference between asking for advice and actually asking for advice but really seeking validation. There's a huge difference in that. I've already made the decision, and as a human being, you've already made the decision. Whether that's to quit your job, to get a new job, whether that's to cut that friend off who is not progressing you in life whatsoever, you already know what you need to do. So instead of asking someone, hey, what do you think about me doing this? You say, how would you do that? I'm about to quit my job and I'm about to go apply for another job. How do you do that? That's what you say. You don't say, oh, I think I'm about to quit my job. You know, what do you think about that? Because everybody's opinions are going to be based on their own experiences. And no two people have had the same experiences. No two people on this planet have had the same experiences. Similar experiences, but not identical experiences. So you need to watch where you're getting that advice from. Be careful. Be extremely, extremely, extremely careful. I saw validation for forever. And when I wasn't getting the validation that I needed, like I said, it made me miserable. So don't make yourself miserable. You know, if you have friends that you're constantly wanting their validation from, you want them to tell you that the boy or the girl that you're with is awesome, and you say, what do you think about this person? You know, it's okay to get their opinion if you value it, but at the end of the day, don't let an opinion influence what you already know. Don't do that. Like I said, as humans, we already know what we should be doing. We already know what we want, what we should be doing, yet we seek society's approval? No. You know, examples of validation. Like, do you think I should call him? He hasn't called me. Do you think I should call him? Nah, girl, don't call him. He ain't called you. That's bad advice. If you feel you should call him, call him. If you feel you should dump him, dump him. If you shouldn't call her, don't call her. It's the same thing. Know who you're asking the advice from. That goes back to the example of asking someone how to make $1 million. Don't ask somebody who's never made that, how do you make it? They're going to give you bad advice. Oh, something else too I thought of. You know, you remember back in school, like when you had a test, but like high school, middle school, and you didn't study for that test. And it was time to take the test, and so you start going around the room. Did you study? Did you study? Did you study? Did you study? I used to do that, hoping that somebody would validate and say, no, I didn't, so I can say, yep, thank you. And that validates my reasonings for not studying. Don't operate like that. Take charge of whatever it is that you're doing, and you don't need advice. You don't need validation. If you need advice, you go find it from the people who have already done it. I don't listen. You know, my craft is sales and personal development. I don't seek advice from random people. I study the greats. I don't ask someone or even pay attention to someone who doesn't have what I want. If you're in a terrible relationship, why the hell am I about to ask you for advice on mine? Know the difference. Know the difference. It's important. It's important. We're out here wanting validation, thinking we're seeking advice. Yeah, we're wanting validation, and nobody can validate us but ourselves. That's something you really have to find within. You have to find within. So I appreciate y'all's time. I'm going to try to keep all my videos up under 10 or 11 minutes. Thank you for watching. Tune back in. I'll be back with you guys for another topic. Hope this was valuable. Like, subscribe, comment. Follow me on Twitter at @tgreat_. Capital T Great, GREAT_. Follow me on Facebook. You know, just let's create a community where we just talk about the real stuff that people don't talk about. Let's challenge the status quo. That's what I'm always about. I'm always about that. I'm willing to be the example. So, thanks for tuning in. Y'all be easy. Have a great day. Accomplish everything that you set out to accomplish, and don't give a FUCK what anybody else has to say about what you're doing and what you're trying to accomplish. All right? You got it. You know what to do. Trust yourself. You don't need the validation. Okay? Be easy.